Bronx Bombers unwrapped prize free agent Garrett Cole for the holidays. Cole agreed to a 9-year, $324 million deal with the Yankees at the winter meetings after a contingent led by general manager Brian Cashman wooed him. Cole, who grew up a fan of the Yankees on the West Coast, has emerged as one of the best pitchers in baseball. The 29-year-old went 20-5 with a 2.50 ERA for the Houston Astros last season. The most lucrative contract ever for a pitcher got me thinking about the best and worst free agent signings the Bronx Bombers have ever made. And while the jury is out on Cole in the Bronx, this, my friends, is worthy of a list. So in the holiday tradition of Cole and the Yankees making the signing official, how about the top 5 worst and the top 5 best free agent signings by the Bronx Bombers? We'll start with the bad. Number 5 on my list of the top 5 worst free agent deals by the Yankees, Jose Contreras. In 2002, Contreras defected from Cuba and inked a 4-year, $32 million contract with the Pinstripers. The right-handed pitcher did get off to a strong start in his first year with a 3.30 ERA and a 7-2 record. However, Contreras ended up with a 4.64 ERA during his time with the club. He was inconsistent and only lasted 2 seasons in the Bronx before he was traded to the Chicago White Sox during the 2004 season. He actually would go on to win the World Series there. Go figure. CarlPavano helped the then Florida Marlins beat the Yankees in the Fall Classic. That was 2003. Pavano signed a 4-year, $39.95 million contract in 2004 with the Yankees after having a career year with Florida the previous season. The right-handed starter started off his Yankee career strong as well with a 4-2 record in his first 10 starts, but it was all downhill after that. Pavano suffered a shoulder injury that season and landed on the disabled list. In addition, Pavano missed the entire 2006 season after going down in spring training. When it was all said and done, Pavano put together a 9-8 record with a 5.0 ERA in just 26 games during his Yankee tenure and signed with the Cleveland Indians the following offseason. He takes number 4 on my list of bad Yankee deals. Number 3, Yankees just haven't had much luck with international pitchers and maybe pitchers in general. Ogawa makes the list. Of course he does. In 2006, he gets 5 years, $20 million plus a $26 million posting fee to come to the Bronx. Ogawa pitched in 2 miserable seasons in the majors. He spent 2 more years at AAA, pictured there, and most of his final season at AA. Twice, General Manager Brian Cashman tried to sell Ogawa back to a Japanese team, but Ogawa refused to go. And it all happened as a knee-jerk reaction to the Boston Red Sox outbidding the Yankees for Daisuke Matsuzaka, which didn't exactly work out for Boston either. But the worst free agent pitcher deal likely belongs to Ed Whitson, who comes in number 2 on my list. 1.9 WAR and 116 Ks in 2 seasons in pinstripes. Whitson is another free agent that did not get along with manager Billy Martin, but unlike Reggie Jackson's disdain for Martin, Whitson's fury resulted in a broken arm for Martin after a fight in a hotel with the manager. He struggled as a Yankee and was consistently booed by fans. Even on the road, Whitson really seemed like he could not handle being in pinstripes and wound up negotiating a trade with the San Diego Padres, agreeing with the Yankees to forego the remaining 3.5 years of his contract. Unreal. That could be the best word to describe Jacoby Ellsbury's time in the Bronx, too. I think he goes down as the worst Yankee free agent signing in my book. And yes, I've said before on the show, it seemed like a pretty good deal at the time. During his 6 years with the Bombers, Ellsbury hit .264 with only 39 home runs, 198 RBIs, and 102 stolen bases in 520 games. Ellsbury has seen the past 2 seasons taken away due to injury and never really lived up to the hype surrounding him when New York signed him away from the Red Sox on a 7-year, $153 million deal ahead of the 2014 season. Probably the highest paid 4th outfielder ever. What a shame. That's the bad, but, you know, there have been plenty of good moments for the Yankees in free agency. We hope Cole works his way onto this list. Here are my top 5 free agent signings for the Yanks. In 1980, Dave Winfield inked for 10 years, $15 million. Looks small now. There must be a stigma against free agent Yankees on long-term contracts because, like Jason Giambi and CC Sabathia, Winfield had his detractors as well for some reason. But Winfield was an outstanding player and a Hall of Famer to boot. Signed to a then record deal following the 1980 campaign, the former Padres star seized the spotlight in New York and posted 8 straight awesome seasons in the BX. Winfield was always healthy, always an all-star, and always productive, though he did so in such an understated manner that it could sometimes be overlooked by both fans and even the owner. George Steinbrenner never seemed to forgive Winfield for a sluggish World Series in 1981, the only one he appeared in as a Yankee. That's a damn shame. He crushed 235 doubles, 205 homers, hit .290, and notched a 26.9 WAR in pinstripes. Here's a little history lesson, too, for Yankee fans. The Yankees signed the first ever free agent back in 1974. He takes the number 4 spot on my list. That man, Jim Catfish Hunter, won his unconditional release from the Oakland A's after owner Charles Finley refused to pay $50,000 Hunter's $100,000 salary and insurance annuities as his contract read. Finley tried paying in cash, but Hunter refused and became the first free agent. The Yankees jumped on the opportunity and paid Hunter $3.2 million for 5 years. He was part of World Series winners in '77 and 1978. Number 3 on my list goes to another Yankee Hall of Famer, but like Winfield, he too just missed out on winning a World Series in the Bronx. Still, Mike Mussina was reliable and often underrated. In 8 seasons in New York, Moose had a 35.1 WAR, collected 123 wins, and 1,278 strikeouts. Another Hall of Famer the Yankees acquired. Mussina also helped the Yanks get to 2 Fall Classics despite never winning a World Series with the Yankees. Mussina's Yankees made it to the postseason in 7 of the 8 seasons of his tenure. Moose entered Cooperstown last summer. I believe CC Sabathia, who just retired at the end of this past season, will join him there someday as well. CC spent 11 years in the Bronx. He takes the 2nd spot on my top 5 Yankee free agent signings of all time. Sabathia posted a 30.1 WAR with 143 wins in pinstripes. The lefty was brought in by Brian Cashman to change the morale in the locker room that was dominated by an all-work and no-play approach by the core 4. CC, alongside Nick Swisher, helped bring some fun to the 2009 Yankees and also helped bring home a World Series trophy. That's number 27 and the most in recent championship lore for the Yankees. He was not only asked to change the locker room, but also to pitch well, and he certainly did. With the Yankees, he finished in the top 5 for Cy Young voting in 3 straight years. In the Bronx, it's all about World Series wins. Mr. Cole will find that out pretty soon. Hence, the guy that goes number 1 on my list, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Although he was only in the Bronx for 5 years, he had his number retired in Monument Park for a reason. The 1977 World Series MVP hit 144 homers for the Yanks during that span. And how about 3 in 1 game during the '77 World Series? The straw that stirred the drink signed a 5-year contract worth $3.5 million in 1976. Jackson earned the nickname Mr. October with those 3 home runs on 3 straight pitches in a decisive Game 6 in 1977. He had turbulent relationships with manager Billy Martin and owner George Steinbrenner, but also had a candy bar named in his honor. Despite the rough sailing, Jackson decided to enter the Hall of Fame as a Yankee in 1993 because he appreciated how the Pinstripers treated him after his career ended. That's the best and the worst in a top 10 list. Let's hope, if nothing else, Garrett Cole is somewhere in between over the next 9 years in the Bronx. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.